Healthcare.gov is still dealing with technical problems this morning. A notice on the homepage now says the website won't be available between 1 and 5 a.m. Eastern Time every day while improvements are being made.
California Senator Dianne Feinstein told Bob Schieffer on Face the Nation that the site should go totally offline until it's fixed.
I felt, and I said this directly to the President's Chief of Staff, they ought to take down the website until it was right. They believe that they need to keep it running and that they can sort out the difficulties, that they brought in technological experts from a broad base of the private sector, and that by the end of November it can be sorted out and be functioning properly.
CBS News political director John Dickerson is here. John, good morning.
Hi, Charlie.
So how deep are the problems with the Affordable Act bill that go beyond the website?
Right. So right now we're watching every little problem, not little problem, big problem. But the Washington Post had a story over the weekend, deeply reported about the problems here. And it has a memo in it by David Cutler, from Harvard, who was an advisor on health care. And he predicted a lot of the problems that played out 3 years ago. And so the question here, the president keeps saying this is more than a website. It is. The larger question here is, where within the structure of government can you do a big thing like this? And where did it go wrong? Was it the fact that there was no one person riding herd on this? Or was it, as the reporting in the Washington Post shows, that politics seeped into the little muscles that all the people in the Obama administration were using to deal with this? They were so afraid that Republicans were trying to defund it. They created this Baroque system of trying to work this out, and that created part of the problem.
But is the sort of overall idea sinking in that it doesn't work for all these reasons?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it's not just that the website, the manifestation, that's not the only problem. The problem is also getting people's eligibility information to them, getting information to the insurance companies. And those are structural flaws which were predicted long ago.
And the consequences of that?
Well, the consequences of that is people are not signing up, which then leads, of course, if it continues into a month from now, if this is still the problem, then the consequences are policy consequences that get to the heart of whether this can even survive as a piece of policy.
And that's what I'm wondering about my next question, because the president is on the road now promoting his health care agenda, and everybody agrees that this rollout has been a hot mess, to put it very bluntly. How big of an effect is it having on the rest of his agenda?
Well, you know, some people would say there wasn't much of an agenda left because of the partisanship in Washington. And one of the things we see in this Post reporting is the partisanship gets into just the daily operations of the White House. It's not just the public fights we see. So how much could he have gotten done even if everything was going wonderfully? But the president hadn't planned to have 2 healthcare events this week, a month ago. So he's having to spend all of his time on this. But as he said months before this website was launched, this is the key signature element of his entire administration. So the rest of the agenda doesn't matter if this doesn't get fixed.
And John, that's what was so fascinating, because in reading that Washington Post article you mentioned, it seems like it was sort of a message about management. If one person's not responsible, then no one is.
There are many problems with this. One of them is the management problems. Now, is that because government just can't do something big and complicated like this? Or is it the fact that they were so politically sensitive, both because the president was up for re-election and because Republicans were constantly gunning for this, that those created a kind of series of problems that made it impossible to put together something this big and this complicated in the federal government?
John Dickerson, thank you very much.